Today is October 17th, 2023. I'm Kelly Zukovic with the City of Savannah Municipal Archives, and I'm interviewing Brinley Brown for the Proud Savannah History Project. We're conducting this interview at the First City Pride Center. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so we're just going to jump into questions, start with a few background questions. Can you tell us your full name?
So my full name is Brinley Grace Bowen.
All right, and what are your pronouns and how do you identify?
I identify as female. I use she, her pronouns.
All right. And how would you identify, your partnership with the LGBTQ plus community?
I identify as a lesbian.
All right. When and where were you born?
I was born in February 26, 2000 in Dublin, Georgia. So I've lived in Georgia my entire life.
Perfect. And how did you end up in Savannah?
I came to Savannah for my undergraduate education at Georgia Southern Armstrong in 2018, graduated from there in 2020, moved to Atlanta for 2 years, and then I moved back here last August, in August 2022, to start medical school at Mercer University here in Savannah.
Okay, well, welcome back. So how would you define coming out?
For me, I feel like I kind of came out, not by accident, but I didn't have a plan to come out. I sort of always shared that part of myself with, friends that were close to me. I grew up in sort of a religious household, as I know a lot of people in the South do. And I was nervous to come out to my parents because I couldn't foresee anything negative happening, but I know a lot of people do come out with that same thought in mind, and then it doesn't go the way that they anticipated going. And I was on the phone with my mom and my stepdad, and I just felt like it was time. I didn't plan it before, and that was in August of 2020. I came out to my parents, and they were very supportive, thankfully. And that's really thankfully, that's the only coming out that I've had to do intentionally. It just naturally comes up in conversation otherwise, but I have felt very supported in that aspect of my life.
All right. So October is when Savannah celebrates Pride. So what does Pride mean to you?
I think it's just the ability for me to be myself. Like I said, growing up I grew up in a small town in middle rural Georgia. And so hiding that part of myself growing up from, maybe authority figures was something that was hard for me. And so now the ability to just be myself is what I like to celebrate during Pride and to love out loud, I guess.
Yeah. And how do you celebrate Pride?
By just being myself. Not hiding that part of myself in public is something that I've, really worked on, and that I'm very proud to, display affection with partners in public, and that kind of thing is how I celebrate my Pride year round, I guess.
Awesome. So are there any pivotal moments or major events in your life that were turning points for you?
Well, moving to Atlanta was really, I think, the turning point for me, being able to come out, because like I said, I lived here, but when I lived here, I was a little bit younger and I wasn't really involved in the downtown scene. And so I didn't really know any other members of the LGBTQ plus community. And so moving to Atlanta, where there is such a large visible community, I think helped me become more comfortable with myself and be more comfortable, expressing my sexuality to others intentionally, and not just, if it comes up in conversation, I'll mention it. But now I'm, I like to lead with that part of myself. I think it's something that's very important. And so, being able to see other people feeling comfortable doing that has made me feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah. So are there any local to Savannah or even in Atlanta events that are meaningful to the LGBTQ plus community?
I really love the Starland First Fridays. I know that's a really big event, especially around here with the SCAD students and that kind of thing. I see a lot of, very outwardly LGBTQ people and same-sex partnerships and families that come and participate in the Starland First Fridays. And I think because this area of Savannah is, very well known for being open and accepting. And I think that is such a wonderful way for people in the community to connect and to be able to connect to businesses that support, who you are fundamentally as a person. And so I love, that is my favorite, event in Savannah.
any viewers aren't familiar with it, can you tell us a little bit about Starland First Fridays?
So the First Fridays in Starland, from my knowledge, since I've been here, back here and been kind of involved in this area of Savannah, they do it on the first Friday of every month. The local businesses in the Starland district, which is where the First City Pride Center, is, restaurants and shops. There are all these businesses that participate, kind of open door policy almost. You come and you go. There are little events. They have little concerts, and sometimes they do open mic nights and comedy shows. And I think it's just a really fun way for the community to an intentional way for the community to connect consistently every single month.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are there any other events we should know about?
Other than the Pride Festival, coming up this weekend, I think that's really like my standout event that I really just love in Savannah. I try to participate, every month if I can.
Yeah, I love that. Are there any local organizations that are meaningful to the LGBTQ community?
Oh, I think I'd be remiss to not mention the Pride Center. That's where we're at. I have a volunteer project with the School of Medicine, and we come and we do free HIV testing here every Wednesday, and having the opportunity to connect with my community through service. Thankfully, the Pride Center has given us the opportunity to be able to do that and the opportunity to connect with this community because they do have so many strong connections. I think that this is just an invaluable asset to the community. I think the Pride Center is just wonderful.
Do you know how long the partnership with your med school has been going on at the Pride Center?
I believe in the past year it really started up. Students last year started, and then we took over the project because they've kind of moved on in their training, and so now we kind of we will take it over for this year, and we'll pass it down to students next year, and so hopefully it will become a long-standing partnership with the School of Medicine.
Nice. And is it well thought about with the School of Medicine?
Oh yes, we have received nothing but support. It's fully supported through the School of Medicine. Everyone is aware. We share it with our classmates. There are 4 of us that are involved in the project that kind of direct the project, but we have other volunteers from the school, other students that come in the week, and we're hoping to kind of get it off the ground a little bit more and get more people here and make the community more aware that we are here doing that every Wednesday.
Very nice. So what would you say is your favorite thing about the Savannah LGBTQ community?
I think the diversity. Of course, there are a lot of young people because we have, several higher education institutes. But last year was my first Savannah Pride, and going to Pride and seeing all of the, older members of the community kind of showing their love to one another. I think that Savannah is a place where you can stay and grow as a person in the LGBTQ community and be supported, not just when you're young. And I think that's, in a lot of communities, that's maybe when the community is most visible, is when you are young. But I feel like Savannah kind of has means to support people through all stages of their life.
Are there any challenges facing the LGBTQ community in Savannah?
I think maybe the same ones that face the community everywhere, the stigma, and again, I know I've mentioned it a couple times, but the aspect of like religion plays a big role, I think, in shaping the way that some people might feel about the LGBTQ community. But I feel as I've grown up and gotten older, a lot of people have kind of strayed from that thinking, and I feel like the community here is pretty well supported. But I think there are always, those challenges maybe by those in office or, by people who aren't necessarily in Savannah that kind of make decisions for the community. But I think that is really changing as, time goes on and generations change.
Do you have a community member or an ally that you'd like to tell us about or lift up?
I really think my parents kind of became accidental allies. I don't think they really had any inkling that I was going to come out to them. And of course, I was very nervous to come out to them because I could have imagined it going so differently. But like I said, they have just been my biggest support system. They've never made me feel uncomfortable to share that part of myself with them. They're always supportive of me in my partnerships. And I think maybe that's the best kind of ally, is one who doesn't have to think about doing it. They just do it because they love the person, and that that aspect of the person is not going to change the way that they think about them. So yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us about your journey?
No, I'm just grateful to have this opportunity to be here and to connect with the community and to be able to interact, like I said, through the HIV testing and with the people at the Pride Center. And just the community in Savannah has been wonderful, and I am hopeful that it will continue to grow, and that everyone in the community feels loved and supported.
Okay. Any last words?
Oh, I think that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.